I'm going to make a quick video about blood sugar going from 141, I believe it was, down to 95 in one day. And the way I did this was sugar. I added more sugar into my diet. So the day that I hit, the day before I hit 141 in the morning, I had really not eaten a whole lot that day. And I had kind of like a lot to try to catch up on the night beforehand. So I really couldn't do it. I really didn't eat as much as I would really like to have eaten. And I'm like, this is crazy. And even that night I had kind of like a really hard time falling asleep. So what I did was the next day I woke up, I had the snake juice with the super snake juice with like three quarters of a cup of sugar and then salt, basically. And I started the day off with that. And then I had 12 or 13 bananas. Then later on, I had 7 cups of pasta. And then later on, I had another 3 pounds of potatoes. And then after that, I had some candies, and I had some of that cherry vanilla stuff from Whole Foods. It comes in a can. It's like a fizzy drink, and it's got a bunch of sugar in it. I woke up the next day, and I had a blood glucose of 90. And then I did something similar to that the next day, and I had a blood glucose of 95, but I didn't eat as much that next day. So it seems to be more dependent on how much I've eaten the day beforehand and how good my sleep is. And the first day, the day that I got 141, that everybody was freaking out about, you know, I actually did reach out, because you can like email the doctors, you know, the endocrinologist that I have. And I emailed it to her. I said, I hit a 141. She's like, well, it's not great, but like 140 and under is considered, you know, fine in the morning. But ideally under 100 is best. And so in one day, I was able to turn that around. So everybody that's talking about sugar's bad, sugar's bad, sugar's bad. Now I realize that I've only lost 175 pounds over my journey, and that's not enough for a lot of people. I get that. Most people don't even weigh 175 pounds. And they say that, you know, I haven't lost enough, that I'm still too fat. I had somebody today come on to one of my old videos and say, well, clearly you're so fat that the rice diet doesn't work. Thank you. Maybe, but I actually think there's a lot more to this whole thing than what we have been told, what we have been taught. I think it's a way of just pushing out insulin. I think there's more underlying going on here as far as different hormones that are at play. Now, I'm not saying that nobody has type 2 diabetes, but I am saying, like bears, for example. Actually, you can be pre-diabetic from not having any activity for about 2 days. So it's not just a blood sugar thing, it's an activity. There's so many different things involved with it. I'm actually putting together a lot of stuff to make a lot of videos on this, because I don't actually think, I mean, I know diet does play quite a bit, but I think there's a lot more at hand here than what we've been told. It's just really easy for a doctor to say, well, you got diabetes, you know, go on X, amount of insulin and you'll be fine. But if you notice, the people who go on insulin keep getting fatter and fatter and sicker and sicker and sicker. It doesn't really help them any. It just kind of helps their blood sugar level. So what's the underlying cause? What's the underlying cause of this whole thing? And that is what I've been looking into, because it doesn't make sense to me how much weight that I've lost, and I keep hitting this roadblock. And I think I finally found the roadblock. I stopped listening to everybody. I started looking into things for myself. And I kind of wish I would have done that at the beginning of this channel. I didn't. So here we are. But there's more at hand here than just a simple, you've eaten too much sugar, because the sugar that they're generally referencing is cupcakes and brownies and whatever, you know, like really, like if you really look at what they're referencing as sugar, it's like 75% fat. And like sugar's in it and protein's in it, but it's mostly fat. It's not really sugar. And they don't want you to, you know, they don't want you to know this, right? Because then it would kind of throw out the entire playbook here. And how much money is made off of insulin every year? It's like every day. It's ridiculous. how much money is made off of insulin. And why didn't people prior to this have diabetes from eating, you know, like 3,540 calories was considered average back in the 1940s. And now they want people on 1,200 calories or something like that to get down to a healthy weight and then go over exercise yourself. Like, people didn't really exercise back in the day. They did have more physical jobs. They did walk a lot more. And I think walking is really all that's needed. Walking, I really like rebounding. I'll talk more about that in more videos. There's more to this than meets the eye. And there's a commonality that I see with a lot of people who do have diabetes that I'm going to talk about in the future. But as far as this video goes, the way I got rid of it in one day, in a 24-hour period, was I ate more, and it was no fat at all, no added fat anyway. You can't really 100% get away from fat altogether because it's in everything. I mean, fat technically is in bananas. I mean, you know, it's not in like straight sugar, but I don't know of too many foods that don't have at least point something fat in them, right? And we don't need a ton of fat, but admittedly, over the years, the times that I've lost the most weight is when I had fat in my diet, and maybe that's just because I never eat enough. I know I get blamed for eating 24 hours a day. It's just not the truth. I wish it was. I wish it was easier for me to eat. It's probably, I don't know what time it is. It's probably 2 or 3 o'clock. I've had a decent, maybe 1,000, I doubt it. I probably had like 700 or 800 calories so far today. So I am going to have to add more in, and then I'm probably going to have to have, you know, like more food as the day goes on. What I'm trying to do is to do like I did the other day, but I don't have any ripe bananas right now, is start off the day with almost 2,000 calories worth of bananas. Because my blood sugar, and interestingly enough, I was noticeably leaner the next morning too after I ate all that food. The day that I barely ate, I was waterlogged like crazy, and that might explain some of the things that I've talked about over the years on this video. Is back in my work days, I used to have scales that I would weigh myself on, and my weight would fluctuate sometimes by 20 pounds over like a 24-hour period. It's ridiculous. It doesn't do that as much now as it used to. But I think there's something to be said for this as well, because that was, man, that's adding to this even more. I can't wait to make this new video. I know I've been talking about the new video, or the new kind of video series, more than I've been talking about this, but it's simple. Try it out. Now, you can't have a lot of fat and protein. You know, I had a surprisingly large amount of protein, but I didn't add any protein in it. Potatoes, I don't know if Chronometer's real correct with the protein level of potatoes, because I think I almost had 100 grams of protein just from the potatoes. It seems a bit off to me. But anyway, that's I'll show the pictures here of the blood glucose reading. Now, I didn't change the date or the time on this thing. I don't know. I really don't see the point of it. I just need the numbers. And that's it. That's really it. It was that simple. I added more food in, and I've been looking into this other stuff because I know it has something to do more with cortisol and estrogen and everything else than it really does with the sugar that we're eating. Because if you look at the graphs, since 1980, sugar consumption is way down and obesity is way up. So it's not the sugar. It's something else. I mean, it's many, many things. You know, if you made it this far, say, you know, I can't believe how colorful that fall is, right? Or the tree behind me is, if you can see it. Hopefully you can see it. It really was that simple. I couldn't believe how much I was eating. Like, if you go to Trader Joe's, they have the Makasi sweet potatoes in a bag. I got a 3-pound bag of that. I ate the entire thing for dinner. I ate a 3-pound, I mean, it was crazy how much I was eating, and my blood sugar was going down. And the days that I don't do that, my blood sugar is way higher in the morning. And cortisol, I know, has something to do with that, and I'm going to be talking about that in a future video. Anyway, sorry, I'm basically plugging my future videos in this video. It's not as simple as, oh, you're eating too much sugar. It just isn't. It just is not that simple. It's simple, and it's something that we didn't have back in the day, and that's why people didn't run into this. Anyways, very cryptic message here, but the message of this video is I added a ton more sugar and my blood sugar came down by 50 points in a day. Try it out. Anyway, talk to you in the next one. Peace. Oh, subscribe, share the video. This one in particular probably be resourceful for some people. But yeah, anyway, talk to you in the next one.